Howdy again, and Happy New Year's. It is New Year's Day 2020. This is Mr. Pete, your internet shop teacher, with episode number 60 of my This and That series. And boy, do I have a lot of things to cover today, so let's get started. Let me start by showing you some footage I took just a couple weeks ago, less than a half a mile here from my shop, with a friend of mine by the name of Luke. I won't tell you just where he lives, but he bought a Ford tractor at a reasonable cost, but the engine, little 3-cylinder diesel, was stuck. So let me show you the footage of that. And since I shot the footage, he did a upper end repair. That is, he put in 3 new pistons and 3 new connecting rods and a set of rings and so on, and fired that tractor up, and it's running just great. He bought it with a loader too, so pretty neat guy. He has worked at John Deere, so he's quite a good mechanic. And I'll just show you that short clip right now, and then we'll get on with other things. I'm here at a friend's house, and he's got a Ford tractor that he's working on, and it's a model 3600 Ford. There's the head. There's a little bit of a problem here with the piston. So he's got it apart. The cylinder's cleaned up real nice and looks pretty good. But the real problem here was this piston was broken and stuck. So a rebuild is in order. Good luck to you, Luke. I've been working like crazy on my video course on the Southend 7-inch shaper. I've got about 8 chapters done. I hope to have 35 or so chapters done and ready to publish and offer to people by, let's say, March or maybe April. I'm not sure. So watch for that if you have a shaper or you're interested in shapers, and that will apply toward Atlas shapers too, even though I will be doing all of the demos on a South Bend. Well, Christmas is over for another year, and you know, I don't give many Christmas presents, nor receive any, nor want any. My wife and I haven't exchanged gifts in 25 or 30 years, and it just takes a lot of pressure off, and she doesn't need anything or want anything. So anyway, I did get a nice Christmas present from my grandson Jordan, now that he's working a tractor and has a little dough. So he's gave me, this was all wrapped up, a full case of my favorite liquid brake cleaner. I use a lot of it, although I think he bought it for himself, and he bought this out of guilt because every time I buy a few cans over at Farm and Fleet, he uses it up on me. So that's what this is all about. But thank you, Jordan. Now, some of you ask me if I ever run into other students or older students that I had years ago, and yes, I do from time to time. Some of them live here in town, others out of town, and are in contact with me by email or whatever. But I have one of my favorite students, maybe my favorite student, comes to see me every year or so. He lives in the Carolinas. So let me show you a picture that we took recently while he was here. Let me introduce you to Troy Legner. I hope he's watching this. He probably is. He was wearing one of my shirts. But notice, he's so tall. You know, he's a head taller than me, but he's almost touching the light. And since his last name was Legner, all of the kids at school called him Legs. And I confess that I took that liberty as well. But he was a student. All he cared about was machine shop. He came in before school, after school, during study halls, or whenever he could sneak out of PE or something like that, he was down to the shop. And because machine shop was and continues to be his life. Now he has other interests too, like skin diving, and he just recently got married. But so and he has quite a shop there in the Carolinas. He was in the Navy also as a machinist mate, so he's quite knowledgeable, has worked at nuclear plants, and just a good friend. He came here to pick up his GTO, a goat. We call them goats. And he had it out here in a trailer. I might have shown that in a video when he was here. But when he got it back home, it had that real big rear engine. The engine blew up, so we had to have it rebuilt. Howdy, Troy. Just this morning, I received an email from a viewer, and he gave me a link to this Craigslist auction for a brand new in the crate 6-inch Craftsman lathe. The price is $21.50 up in Kenosha, you know where they had all the riots. And you know what? I think it's probably worth that. Probably the only one in the world still in the crate. But it is only the 6-inch. If it was the 12-inch, I'd grab it. So there it is in the crate, but he took it out of the crate to clean it up, get the cosmoline off. I kind of wish he had not. I don't know how old it is, but on the original Sears shipping label, there is no zip code, so it's probably in the 50s. Note Chicago 7, Illinois. All cleaned up. Look at those gears. Comes with the original tooling, a 3-jaw and a 4-jaw chuck, a brand new motor. You may remember my friend Roger Taylor. He was a shop teacher out in California. He's retired now. He gave me this nice little 4-inch vise for that South Bend shaper. Do you remember that? But he's in contact with me from time to time, and he's had plenty of accidents there in the school shop, as we all did. So after a boy had hurt his finger on the lathe, getting it wrapped up or cut severely by emery cloth, he made this safety sheet that he had posted on the wall on how this should be done. I don't know how many times I had wrapped emery cloth around and kind of got my finger pinched, not hurt, but it kind of scared me. So that's a process that you need to be careful of. It seems so simple and innocent, but you can get hurt. Thanks, Roger. Now, only 75 people watched this video of mine, and I don't really care, but there was one little bit of information in there that I thought was so news-breaking. It was near the end of the video. No comments on it or anything, so I got to rant on that just a little bit, so you're going to have to bear with me on that. Okay, so I've got this Toyota RAV4 car. I think it's a 2020 model, and it has the automatic stop-start engine feature, which I absolutely hate. And if you have a new car, I'm sure you have that in your car. What I mean by that, a lot of people don't know what I'm talking about. But when you come up to a stop sign, the engine turns off. A perfectly good engine that's running turns off in the middle of traffic, in the middle of nowhere. And then when you let up on a brake, the engine restarts. Well, some people aren't even aware that their car is doing this, especially older people. And I can make fun of older people because I am an older person. But some people don't get it, nor do they care, and I'm jealous of them because they don't care, because it bothers me a great deal that we have this insane thing brought on by EPA or something, you know. It increases your gas mileage, so you get an extra mile out of every 100 gallons by doing that. So anyway, I finally figured out how to bypass that, and I thought this was revolutionary news. No one on YouTube or anywhere that I could find knows how to disable that feature. Yeah, I know there's a button on the dash. We all know that. But that only works for that driving session. And next time you use the car, you know, you're back to the engine turning off. And you kind of forget about that because you're an old man. You're an old fool. So, so I explained, I didn't tell you how to do that because it's probably illegal. But I was able to do it on my car. Of course, there's a penalty to pay for that because no good deed goes unpunished. But that's why I feel bad that nobody watched that video of mine. You know, I'm always whining about nobody watching my videos, not making the projects, but all of a sudden I get a nice email from one Mr. Dale Driscoll. That's quite a while ago. And he says, I watch your videos, and furthermore, I make all your projects. So he sent me a picture of all the projects that he made over the years. And it looks like he did a better job on them than what I did. So thanks for that, Dale. Here's two videos I made 3 years ago called What Makes It Work, and it's a scroll chuck. And I haven't thought about these in a long, long time. But all of a sudden, out of clear blue sky, I get a message from a viewer, and I thank you for that. I'm not sure who that was, but let me show you what he sent to me. He said, "Did you know that somebody stole your video?" Now, this happens from time to time. Now, look at that. He reduced it to 2 minutes, and his name, this is from China. It's always these guys from China that do this. His name is Jang the Tool. So I looked up his channel, and he's got all kinds of videos on there. I suppose he stole all of them, but and he got more views than me, too. That's the part that makes me mad. So, all right, so I'll contact YouTube, and they'll take that down, but it's almost more work than it's worth. And this has been on for 2 years, but if you ever discover any of my videos that are put on there by these Chinese people, let me know and I'll get them taken down. I've already talked about this, but several videos ago I asked, does anybody have a drawing that Atlas sold to make this device that fits on an Atlas lathe that allows you to index and make gears? Well, almost immediately I had copies of that original drawing. So let me show you that, and then a few more things that showed up since then. So a viewer sent me this picture and he says, I made one of those. Now, I don't know if he made it recently or years ago, and I think it's a smaller version that's on a 6-inch Atlas, but I'm not totally sure. But look at the nice job he did on that, and he varied a little bit from the drawings, but I'm going to vary a little bit from the drawings too. Let me show you those drawings. Within minutes after my original plea for help, Breck from down in Bourg, Louisiana, sent me a copy, and this is the original Atlas print. Look at this. Atlas never made this device. Atlas sold the blueprint for 50 cents, but it's no longer available, or someone said they might have it up there at the Closing Works. I don't know, but I'm happy because there is the original drawing. But wait, there's more. And another viewer made up drawings. There's about 6 pages like this, and each part for this project is on a different page. And I'll talk more about that in another video. I do intend to make this project at some point. But then out of the clear blue sky, someone sent me another print for almost identical project to the Atlas. Notice the CS right there. That stands for Casting Specialties. So apparently at one time in the Casting Specialties catalog, and I've talked a lot about Struck, and that company, this is one of their older catalogs. I have a slightly newer edition of it someplace, but in neither one of those could I find this project. But they would not have put out a drawing without the castings available. So at one time, Mr. Struck, I'm going to say that he just lifted this off of Atlas and designed it, made patterns, sold castings, and redid the drawing, but the drawing is almost identical to the Atlas drawing, but actually I think it's better done because he was appealing to high school students, making drawings very understandable and readable to beginners. So I just thought that that was so strange that that drawing is the same as that drawing. Every year I get a box from Dave Pigeon, and he's out in Vermont, and he sends me these nice little calendars you can put on the dashboard. I like those. And he sent me a mystery tool video. Thank you, David. The video is getting too long. Is anyone actually still watching? But let me just say another thing. I know that I've talked these things to death, but the name Optivisor might give you a little clue as to another purpose. I always wore a baseball cap or one of these or a visor in the shop because I get a glare from the lights. And if you ever watch the old movies, westerns, you know, these dealers, they wore a vest, they wore garters on their sleeve, and a green cellulose visor. And when I was a kid, oh, what's with that? You know, well, somebody gave me some of these green visors, and I wore those for years down here in the shop. I don't have any left, but when I started wearing these, I threw away the other visors because they serve the same purpose. All right, that's foolishness. Now, I'm going to try something new here. I will make, well, I'm telling you right now in this video that I may make a video where you can answer, where I can answer your questions. So I'm going to give you an email address here in just a second and allow you to send in questions. If I get good questions that are sensible, they can be semi-personal, but I'm going to sort through them. I'm only going to answer the ones I want to. I won't answer real long ones or ones that may not appeal to other people, and maybe nobody will send me any, I don't know. But if I get, 10 or more good questions that I think might be interesting to people, I will make a video entitled something like, tubalcain answers your question, something foolish like that. So that may not work, I don't know, but I'll show you that private email right now. Don't use it for any other purpose, and don't put the questions down in the comments because they will get lost and I cannot find them. They'll be in there with hundreds of other comments. Now listen, I want to tell you something else. I do read through all the comments, and often I put in, most of the time, I answer. And sometimes it may seem crazy because I'm dictating and the autocorrect, puts goofy words in there. So, I can spell a little bit anyway. I do have some grammatical skill. So that's why they're goofed up. But if in turn you give a comment onto my comment, those become buried and I probably never do see them because there's no way for me to go back. Let me show you this email address right now. There's my Yahoo email address. This is for questions only now that I might use in that video. Don't ask me any other questions or any other crazy emails. This is Roy Rogers, King of the Cowboys, in 1952, making a project with his boys in the workshop. Notice how he is dressed. This is noted movie actor Jeff Chandler, working on a bandsaw between takes at a movie studio. Here's actor and producer Dick Powell taking a cut on his shopsmith. Here's Robert Stack of the Untouchables pulling an engine. Actor Bob Cummings building a model car. Actor Rod Cameron building a model ship. Okay, I went to the Gilmore Car Museum, the biggest and best car museum in the United States. It's up in Michigan, and I took some footage. Let me talk about that right now. Okay, the video is essentially concluded. Thanks for watching, but some of you are sentenced to detention. And for those of, this is not extra credit, you get no credit whatsoever for this, but some of you have to stay for detention because you were bad boys. And if you do, I'm going to show you this Gilmore footage and some still pictures that I took up in Michigan 3 months ago during the big old, and it's all about hood ornaments. Now we no longer have hood ornaments, they put a decal or something on the front of your car, but years ago we had hood ornaments, see? Like this is off my Dodge. I really like that, that's why I saved it, although it's made of plastic. But years ago most cars had hood ornaments, and sometimes they were called mascots. So I talked to the curator up there at Gilmore, and they have, I think, the world's largest collection of mascots. They have thousands of them, plus many in storage that are not on display. So I took some video of that. Now it's not very good because it's behind glass, so you get the reflection, and you might end up seeing my ugly puss taking the picture. So they're not good, but I thought this is artwork now. This is art. So many people paid extra. The fancy cars had the big hood ornaments, but some of them had custom-made ones, commissioned ones from all over the world. France did a lot of this too. Also, I have some stills of this in that footage, so I found it fascinating. I don't know if you will. A good number of them were die cast or cast by lost wax or whatever, and created by wonderful artists. So if you're interested in hood ornaments and mascots, go up to that museum. Remember, they have a website as well, and let's cut to that footage right now, and that will be the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. This is Mr. Pete Tubalcain saying so long. I'll see you next time. I have many, many more videos to come this winter. Howdy, it's Mr. Pete, and I'm here at the Gilmore Automobile Museum near Kalamazoo, Michigan, and it's one of the largest, if not the largest, automobile museum in the country. It's a campus, but I'm in a little building here that really was an old railroad station, and it's filled with hood ornaments, which they call mascots, but it's just a small part of the museum. Okay, you bad boys, detention is over. Go on home. The buses are gone, you gotta walk home, and that's part of your punishment too. And act like human beings when you come in here tomorrow, will you?